Mauricio Suleiman exposes Ryan Garcia and JoJo Diaz and so on and so forth for not fighting the mandatory in Devin Haney. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. So we have Ryan Garcia, aka the coward that won't fight Devin Haney, and you also had JoJo Diaz. These guys were recently supposed to fight Devin Haney. They never had a chance to fight Devin Haney, and JoJo Diaz just defeated Javier Fortuna and got the interim belt in the mandatory to fight Devin Haney. And Ryan Garcia was supposed to fight Devin Haney after he successfully beat Luke Campbell. And they're just dog walking around Devin Haney. And now we have gotten a message from Mauricio Suleiman on why these guys is colluding to avoid Devin Haney. And we recently seen that Bill Haney said that when he recently talked to JoJo Diaz that they was going to try to get a deal done, but JoJo Diaz flip-flopped back to Ryan Garcia. Well, we got some big news from the WBC Mauricio Suleiman. It's about time this man stepped up and do some real justice. Mauricio Suleiman says that they will both be stripped from the WBC rankings, and they will not have an opportunity to fight for the interim belt. That's great news, because you guys are flip-flopping back and forth saying I'm the real champion, but you know the real champion is Devin Haney, and you guys decided not to fight Devin Haney because y'all know y'all can't beat him, because stylistically matchup, these guys can't beat Devin Haney. We seen Ryan Garcia lost to Devin Haney in the amateurs, and he feels like he might lose again in the pros. And JoJo Diaz is, in my opinion, is way too slow for Devin Haney, and Devin Haney will just outbox circles around him all day. But I'm glad that Mauricio Suleiman stepped up to the plate and get these guys out of the WBC rankings, because it's come to the point that the WBC is starting to become a joke. Maybe we might start to see some good stuff that comes from the WBC, but we know that WBC is still corrupt. But I'm glad this is a start for the WBC to change the fate of this outcome for Devin Haney to fight more competition, more interim people that wants to step up to the plate and fight Devin Haney for the belt. Because Ryan Garcia and JoJo Diaz, obviously they are in cahoots of not fighting Devin Haney, because they're not going to beat Devin Haney. If they decided to strip him from the WBC rankings, I don't know when they're going to do it. But if they strip him from the WBC rankings and get him out of there, they're not going to be nobody. JoJo Diaz, you might as well go back down to 130 or 126, because you're not going to be anybody no more once you get out the lightweight division. And we don't know. Maybe JoJo Diaz might be ordered to fight Devin Haney, or he'll be stripped from that belt. Who knows? But like they said, the fight continues to go on. They're going to strip him from the rankings. So that Ryan Garcia and JoJo Diaz fight happens, they're going to strip him from the rankings and probably never be allowed to fight in the WBC again. Or if they do, they'll probably got to work their way up, a long ways back up the ladder. So, but I'm glad the WBC has stepped up at this point, because you heard Ryan said he wanted to fight Gervonta Tank Davis, then he wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao, and he talked all that smack after being floored by Luke Campbell with a check left hook. You lucky that wasn't Tank, because Tank would have got you out there within 3 rounds. And so, then you got JoJo Diaz, who, in my opinion, barely beat a Javier Fortuna, in my opinion. And so now he's trying to clout chase, saying, oh, I want Ryan Garcia, then we fight Devin. Just get him out of here, because it makes no sense, because these guys know they're not going to fight each other. So what's the point of fighting in the WBC rankings if you're not going to fight the high-level competition? Devin Haney is the high-level competition. You guys both ducked him. And that's visual evident proof coming from Mauricio Suleiman. So, and then you have Leonard Ellaby. It says that Gervonta Tank Davis fought the best competition. He wants the big fights. Well, for one, Mario Barrios is not big competition, okay? He was a secondary champion. And also, let me state this as well. Little B also says that Devin Haney isn't a big star. And Oscar said Devin Haney isn't a big star either. Why is these guys making lies saying Devin Haney isn't a big star? This dude obviously makes $1 million, make more money than any lightweight as possible. I don't think he makes. Well, I think he does make more than Tank, but Tank does bring in a bigger revenue. But we know with Floyd, they probably take a big cut of that out. So I'm gonna say Devin Haney makes more. But Little LB says Devin Haney isn't a known name. Well, first of all, if Tank want to fight big champions, why is he fighting secondary champions, right? They know that Devin Haney is a bad stylistically matchup for Tank. I believe Tank Davis does not beat Devin Haney. Devin Haney has a lot of range, a lot of height, a lot of size, and I think he'll just outbox Tank. I think he'll frustrate Tank, and I think he'll just stay on the outside and outbox Tank because Tank Davis, he has a high ring IQ, but you don't have the size advantage to keep up with Devin Haney like that. You don't have the size, and I don't know. I think Devin Haney is a little bit more athletic than Tank because I have actually seen Tank gas before. When he gets close to them high rounds, he gets gas. He doesn't get that second win for real. But they know that's a bad stylistically matchup. I don't know why people are saying Devin Haney's not a big star. Obviously, he's the most feared man at lightweight because if you got Jojo Diaz, Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Tank Davis, Teofimo Lopez, and so on and so forth, maneuvering around this guy, and Devin Haney's calling everybody out. Do you hear Gervonta Tank Davis calling out Devin Haney? No. Do you hear Jojo Diaz calling him out? Yeah, but he clout chased off his name to fight Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, absolutely not. Coward. Teofimo Lopez sending out fake contracts, say he's going to fight Devin. Never happened. We don't even know what Teofimo Lopez is doing, so that dude is out the picture. Tank Davis, fighting secondary belts, climbing up in weight, thinking he's Superman, and not fighting the best of the best in his weight class. So, Devin Haney is one of the most feared men at lightweight, in my opinion. And now, Mauricio Sulaiman has dropped the ball on these guys because they're obviously not fighting this guy now. And some people fear that Devin Haney could be another Gary Russell Jr. He beats everybody. He just won't get big fights. Well, as us boxing fans, we won't let that allow to happen. We've seen what happened to Gary. We're not going to let it happen to Devin. Devin is a super special fighter just like Gary. We just got there too late with Gary, and that's why Gary wasn't allowed to get big fights. But Gary kind of played that on himself because Gary never moved on from 126. He should have moved up to at least 130, 135 in my opinion because Gary, there's a lot of small people in 135 and 130. There's no reason for you not to move up, but that's another video. But the point of the matter is, Mauricio Sulaiman, finally dropped the ball on these guys, exposing Ryan Garcia, exposing Jojo Diaz for not fighting Devin Haney, and maneuver around each other to fight both former interim champion versus interim champion. And if the fight happens, they'll be stripped from the WBC rankings. I'm glad because it's finally we get to see the truth in real fights and real mandatories that want to fight the real champion. And I'm glad Mauricio had made this move. And it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.